Buongiorno, la seduta è aperta.
Good morning. I call the House to order. Is there a request for the floor there?
Ai rappresentanti del Consiglio e della...
We have the representatives of the Council and the Commission. Welcome to them. You'll be aware that the first item this morning are their statements on China's market economy status. First of all, I shall give the floor to the Council in the person of the Minister, Ms. Hennis-Plasschaert. You have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. President, Mr. Commissioner, honourable members. The question of granting market economy status to China is one of unprecedented political significance for the European Union, given its wide-ranging implications. Not only will it affect EU trade, but deriving from it, jobs and growth as well. Obviously, the EU must comply with its obligations under WTO law. It must also balance the legitimate concerns of European producers, consumers and users, while acknowledging China's position as a strategic trading partner. Now, clearly, the EU is under high pressure from its industries and civil society to take a decision on this matter. On the Council side, we will examine the full potential impact of our decision in order to give the question a solid and well-founded answer. And this is why the Council very much welcomes the work being carried out by the European Commission, in particular the open public consultation of stakeholders and a full impact assessment. In addition, it is important not to lose sight of the potential effects of the EU's decision in this matter. So beyond the trade aspects of our relations with China, and yes, the Council is very much aware of the alarming situation of the EU steel industry, which is facing a serious crisis as a result of global overcapacity, in particular in China. Now, as you will know, the Council has not yet taken any position, for the very reason that the right to initiate legislation belongs to the Commission. In other words, the Council does look forward to the results of the Commission's impact assessment and stands ready to work with the European Parliament and the Commission in the best interests of EU industry and European citizens. In the meantime, the Council has restarted discussions on the Commission's 2013 proposal on modernising the EU's TDI, the trade defence instruments. And although it's not for me to prejudge the outcome of the ongoing work, but let me underline that this might be the moment to reflect on how to improve our trade defence mechanisms, with a view to better tackling unfair trade practices and to ensuring a global level playing field for EU companies. In the same context, the recent release by the Commission of its communication on steel has been a welcome initiative to examine how to strengthen our defences against unfair competition and cheap imports. Now, in closing, and considering the importance of the subject, the Foreign Affairs Council in Trade Formation will discuss the Commission's communication from a trade angle this coming Friday, May 13, including new Commission ideas on how to modernise the EU's trade defence instruments, and in particular in the light of the economic damage caused by overcapacity in third country markets. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Minister. Now, for the Commission, Mr. Andriukaitis, the Commissioner, you have the floor.
Dear President, honourable members, it is very clear that the issue of market economy status for China, as well as the overcapacities issue in the steel sector, are two of the most important trade issues facing us. And the Commission is treating it as an utmost priority. While the EU-China relationship is of utmost importance, it is undeniable that China is not a market economy by any standards. And we know that is not the question here. We are working very hard to find a solution which is not easy. Clearly, our trade defence instruments need to be efficient and effective, independently of the expiry of certain provisions of China's accession protocol to the WTO. Let me tell you where we are on this file. The three options we are considering are: first, we do nothing. This would mean no change in legislation. An option that we consider would pose a high legal risk, given that the European Union's analog country methodology for China is based on the very elements of the protocol which expire in December this year. Second, remove China from the list of non-market economies and applying the standard methodology for dumping calculation. This is usually called granting market economy status to China. Our analysis of this option so far and the feedback from many stakeholders show that it would present a very high cost in terms of potential job losses in the European Union, as the European Union would not be able to fully take into account the distortions existing in the Chinese economy and thereof no longer be able to provide necessary protection against unfair trading practices. Even without the current climate of overcapacities, any such move would be untenable. Third, change the anti-dumping methodology by introducing a new approach which would maintain a strong trade defense system in the EU while giving effect to the expiry of certain provisions of the China accession protocol. This approach would help ensure that the dumping margins calculated would, for the main part, reflect the ongoing distortions in the Chinese economy more accurately. In this regard, the EU would follow the examples of the United States. The Commission's public consultation ended on 20th of April and generated almost 5,300 responses, as well as some 150 additional submissions delivered by citizens, industrial associations and other stakeholders in the form of letters, position papers, emails, etc. In addition, almost 300 stakeholders attended a conference organized by the Commission on 13th of March, as well as a consultation of the social partners on 15th of April. The economic study carried out by external economic experts is also being finalized. The additional work undertaken on the study is aimed to deepening the results and providing more information regarding the impact of options at both Member States and sectoral level. The input received and the feedback from all of these elements is being compiled and analyzed at present, and the findings will be reflected in the impact assessment. Given the massive interest in this dossier and the volume of representations received, it takes time to draw conclusions. Once the impact assessment is finished in the coming weeks, the College is planning to discuss the matter again before the summer recess. We are also in close contact with our non-European Union G7 partners on the issue, bearing in mind, of course, that the specific features of each legal system differ. Irrespective of the legal interpretation of Section 15 of China's Protocol of Accession to the World Trade Organization, let me reassure you that the Commission's overriding aim is to ensure that the EU will continue to have a trade defense system that will remain strong and effective in the face of unfair trading practices, practices which we see are all the more prevalent in the context of the massive overcapacities, not only in the steel sector, but in many others. In this context, it becomes more urgent than ever that the modernization package is adopted. The Parliament has done its job, but unfortunately, the Council has been unable to move the file forward. As you know, the Commission is making every effort to assist the Member States to unblock the situation. You will recall that the adoption of the modernization package was also stressed in the context of the steel communication. And now I can count on the European Parliament's determination to continue to play its role in finding a solution in the best interest of the European Union. Thank you.
Grazie.